Asanteni sana. Ngoma hiyo inaitwa Mwinjiro. Mwinjiro inachezwa na ndugu zetu kutoka Embu. We would like to recognize the esteemed presence of the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, Honorable Safina Kwekwe Tsungu.
Tunashukuru sana na tunakukaribisha katika sehemu hii yetu ya Bomas of Kenya, na tuna maneno mengi kama unavyoona kwamba kiwanja yetu ni kubwa na tunatumia kiasi fulani. Tunajua sana kwamba Bomas inajulikana zaidi wakati uchaguzi unakuja ama wakati referendum inakuja, lakini tuna potential ya kuweza ku-expand na kutengeneza iko opportunities nyingi ambayo tunaweza.
Allow me at this juncture, Madam PS, to take this opportunity to take you through a quick brief on behalf of the chairman of the board about what Bomas is about ourselves and what we do. Part of what we are going to show here is what you have physically seen. Bomas of Kenya was established in 1971 as a company by Tourism Finance Corporation, what we used to call Kenya Tourism Development Corporation. 1986, the company got its first board appointed by the government through the Ministry of Tourism. We host a total of 200,000 school-going children, both primary and secondary, annually. As we said during our tour, this premise or this facility sits on 80 acres of land. We have a total of 175 members of staff. Out of these, we have contracted staff members and those who are permanent. Our vision, Mheshimiwa PS, is that we intend to be the leading custodian of Kenya's cultures for cultural tourism. Madam PS, our vision, our mission is to preserve, maintain, educate and promote the diverse cultures of Kenya for tourism development. Our mandate, Madam PS, is to preserve, maintain, educate, promote the rich, diverse cultures of our Kenyan ethnic groups. As you are aware, we have a total of originally 42 tribes, but we have now additions. Our mandate is to ensure that we preserve those cultures, educate people about those cultures, and to promote the same for posterity. Discharging our mandate, we are expected to preserve, of course, the authenticity of our cultural values and portray them in the most pure form. Our functions as an institution, Madam PS, is to preserve, maintain, package and promote the rich and diverse cultures of Kenya, as we said earlier, of all the ethnic communities, for national cohesion, integration and tourism development. We also do this by educating local and international tourists on Kenya's cultural values. Through the education platform, we have the products that we exhibit here for our school-going children, both primary and secondary schools. We also have tertiary institutions, including universities, who are actually having cultural studies in their institutions. So they visit us for practical orientation of what they are studying in their schools. That's our role as Bomas of Kenya in terms of educating our local population and our international tourists. Our role in tourism, because one would ask, what is it that we do as Bomas of Kenya, Madam PS, in terms of tourism? We are supposed to conduct cultural research and knowledge management. As we went through our villages, you notice these are various communities, so we need to understand what is the culture of those ethnic communities. How do we keep that information? And again, how do we manage that information? This information is important because as we move on generations come in and others get depleted, we do not want that knowledge to be depleted. It's our function to ensure that we preserve that and we manage that knowledge. Of course, we have a mandate, our role to ensure that we have a cultural tourism policy that would enable development and management of the same. Another function, and which is related to tourism development, Madam Peers, is revenue generation for tourism sustainability. Madam Peers, we thought it's very important to take you through our achievements as Bomas over the years. We have been very consistent in delivering authentic cultural products. You notice that we are not copy. It's not copycat. All that we have seen in our villages and what we have in our music and dance is what has been researched over the years. We have had the opportunity to have them authentic as they are. So our teams go to the villages, interact with the clan elders of those communities, those who have the history and the information about those communities. We have that documented. As we move on, we will be able to share with you what our intention is in terms of innovation with regards to preserving that authentic culture. We have responded to the increased demand for MICE tourism, meetings, incentives, conferencing and exhibition is a niche market that is developed in the country for tourism promotion, and we have responded to that by putting into use the little conference facilities we have. As you noticed as we were going around, we have a new conference facility. The idea of developing that conference facility is to be in tandem with the demand of those facilities. It is our duty now to ensure that we put it into maximum use so that we can be able to achieve the other idea of revenue generation. While we are on this, of course we will talk about it later. Bomas of Kenya Board of Directors developed an idea of having a big conference facility. In fact, one of the biggest conference facility and exhibition facility in Bomas. In fact, it is duped as NICEC, a big project for this country, not only for Bomas. The idea was to be self-sustainable, that there is no time Bomas of Kenya or the ministry at large would depend on the exchequer for revenue generation. NICEC was a big and is a big project. We are hopeful that that project is going to change the platform of tourism in the country, especially the MICE. You are aware, I believe, about that. We'll share about it later and where we are as an institution. We have a multi-purpose hall that was built in 1987 during the All African Games. And that is where we are hosting our offices, administrative offices. We are able to sit about 1,500 participants of conference activities. We have exploited our serene location. You notice we are neighboring Karen. The environment is quite serene, and that is why most of the time we are lucky to have major national events because of humble parking, because of the serene, and there is no congestion from the hustles and bustles of town, and of course proximity to the national park. You noticed today that the tourists who are in the hall are those who came to Nairobi National Park. After here, most probably they will go to Giraffe Center and the other touristic facilities around here. We have also developed a master plan on how we intend as an institution to utilize our 80 acres of land. The master plan is here. It has quite a number of things that we are talking about on how we utilize our land. Of course, we have the main auditorium, we have the sports hall, we have the restaurant, we have staff houses, we have villages, we have children's playing ground, ceremonial, medicinal, and the botanical garden. Those ones are there. Of course, we have got to improve on what we have. The bicycle racing track, we have what you've seen here, but again, we have a plan just next to our perimeter wall. We are preparing a path in which people can be able to walk, people can be able to have a cycle. It's part of our our master plan arrangement. We have, of course, the indigenous forest, and we are preserving that in tandem to preserving the environment. Special ceremony grounds, of course, we can do weddings and other parties. Potential for us to be self-sustainable so that we don't keep crying like the other day. I came to your office, Madam PS Chairman knows about it, to ask you to assist me so that we get money and run our operations. Of course, we have a conference center, which we have shared with you, that we have down there. We have an intention to have an improved art gallery. You know, art gallery in the sense that from all our 42 tribes or ethnic groups, we are supposed to have what was original to those communities in terms of art. What is it that they used to do? And we are able to have that in our plan. The curio market is a small thing that we are doing here for our social corporate responsibility for our community. But going forward, we want to have it elaborate in our master plan. In the NICEC plan, these red areas 1 up to 9, these are our dream projects. And they have been envisaged in this master plan. Of course, the 5-star traditional cottages. That's what we are talking about. What would happen if we needed to have guests who are coming here to live in a Maasai-like cultural manyatta? That is what we are looking at, having a 5-star traditional cottages where we will have guests coming in and spending, and we will generate money out of that. Open air theater. What we have is closed, the auditorium. This open air theater will be very useful for our outdoor activities or outdoor events, outdoor conference activities. Sports grounds, we have a ground here which we're using for sports, but it is of course not developed. In the master plan, we will need to have that development of the same. A 5-star hotel. We are talking about if we have a conference here, NICEC. Where will these guests put up? You know, to take care of that capacity issue, we are proposing to have a 5-star hotel in our master plan. Of course, we intend to have a shopping mall in our 80-acre plot. Of course, we also are proposing that we have a petrol station within our asset. This is the land. Of course, the manager's house is not there. Is what we are also proposing in our master plan. Wetland and amusement park. This is our master plan. It was developed, of course, in line with the NICEC requirement. What we presented about NICEC, Madam PS, is documented. The company initiated the master plan, the feasibility study for NICEC. Already, we have done a master plan, we have done feasibility study, and of course a transaction advisory, and of course an agreement with the government to allow us to have a PPP arrangement for potential investors for NICEC. The reports are available and the ministry is fully aware of the same. It is our prayer that as we discuss this, you find it in your wisdom to support the project for posterity of our institution, for the posterity of our tourism and wildlife ministry, and of course, our country. We also established the Utamaduni restaurant. It was never there, and so what used to happen in the auditorium, there was a small area where people used to sit and have meals next to the bar. But later we realized, as part of our cultural preservation in executing our mandate, we needed a restaurant that would deal with our authentic cuisines for our Kenyan communities. Yes, ma'am. But in doing this, Madam PS, and even as we project to achieve what we have in our strategic plan and in our master plan, this has not happened easily, and we have experienced certain challenges which I would like to highlight. Of course, operational dependency, inadequate funding for planned development, and declining financial support from government. For example, I give you a snapshot of how our finances support from the government has been through the exchequer. In the last 3 years, they have been deteriorating. In the year 2016-2017 financial year, we had an allocation of about 450 million from government. Later it was decreasing to about 320. Last financial year we had 195. And even this current year, actually what we have proposed from the Exchequer and what was allowed was 175. Deteriorating, yet we have aspirations to do better. And so that is why we'll also be bringing it to your desk a request to support us. Of course, infrastructure in need of fixing and repair. You notice this facility was established in 1971. Those are many years I wasn't born, and perhaps some of my colleagues were not there. But the facility, including the auditorium, has never seen a facelift at all. And on a light touch, the other time we had the BBI, your colleague P.S. Kibichi said, hey, come on, this place is likely to fall anytime. Are we saying that this is important? We need to have resources to fix our assets so that we are able to execute our mandate. Inadequate product base, weak marketing of the existing Bomas product and infrastructure. We are also agreeing that we have had our challenges that, as you also noted, we have a new conference room and you remarked that it looks like you need to do a little bit of marketing. We have embarked on a very aggressive project to ensure that we do proper marketing, proper branding of what we have. Many people may not know what we have and what we are capable of doing. Going forward, Madam PS, that's what we want to do. Of course, inadequate preparedness in the face of increasing security and terrorism. Madam PS, you notice that it is the other day that we put up a perimeter wall. We were exposed before, and this came at the wake of terrorism attacks in the country. Of course, as an institution, we have a responsibility to ensure that we are safe, and our country, especially our guests, are safe. When you come in, we have one gate. We have had certain challenges as an institution. When we have major functions, for example, the BBI, and of course the National Anti-Corruption Conference that we had here last year, it becomes a nightmare to manage people when they come in, especially when they are VIPs. We are proposing that in this financial year we get support. We want to expand our gate. We want to expand our infrastructure in terms of parking, so that we are able to use our facility that we have properly in generating revenue. Weak strategic alliances, partnership linkages, e.g. with counties that are homes of tourism experiences. In the 2010 constitutional dispensation, which created the counties, we realized that every county wants to do what is cultural to them. And so as the headquarters of cultural preservation and maintenance of the same, we have a role to ensure that we link with them so that they also know that we are the pacemaker for whatever they are going to do in the counties. So that is a plan we have. At the same time, we have many opportunities to liaise with the other cultural stakeholders, UNESCO, we have museums of Kenya, we have the Ministry of Culture, the Cultural Center, and the rest. We have not had proper interactions. It's a challenge which we are also going to handle internally in terms of our operations. Of course, rapid urbanization and modernization leading to rapid disappearance and adulteration of our cultural knowledge. Of course, you notice, Madam PS, what we are showing here is what we have researched. If we went to the ground today to do research, most probably we'll get a new generation of crop of people. Chances are there is erosion of the information with regards to cultural practices of those communities. We have a challenge and we want to propose going forward, because there is a way we are talking about a way forward, how we intend to protect or mitigate against adulteration and disappearance or erosion of cultural information. Let's move. Move forward. Inadequate staffing levels. In our HR manual and what we have as a structure, what we are talking about 175 is below what we are proposing. We have had a lot of demand from, for example, our cultural performances. You know, the Harambee dancers, the ones who are dancing here. We have actually a pair of 2. So we expect to have about 4, so that when at any one point, whenever we are called to perform in a certain place, we have another troupe able to do somewhere else. This is a challenge. We cannot employ more people if we don't have resources. Once we have resources through our internally generated resources, or through the Exchequer's funding, we are able to achieve our optimum numbers. For now, we have had challenges because, again, as we said, as much as we want to be self-sustainable, we have challenges of infrastructure. That's why we need some capital injection, some boost for us to be independent and to be self-sustainable. Now, what is it that we want to do? Having said all this, it is our dream and it is our plan, Mheshimiwa PS, to do the following: establish a digital cultural library. This is going to help a lot because, God forbid, if today Bomas of Kenya got some calamity and we lost everything that we have, buildings, records, and the rest, it would be very difficult for anybody to trace the architectural designs of the Mijikenda community, of the Maasai community, or any other information related to what we have already done. That is not there. We have not prepared for any backup. We want in the future to have a digital cultural library, that anything that is cultural that we have is digitized. We can keep it in servers, we can keep it in the clouds or anywhere else. And that means, again, there is sustainability of what we have. We also want to be smart in embracing technological use by having a Bomas app. This app will be very useful to anybody, in the sense that instead of people thinking of coming to Bomas of Kenya to see the houses, to get information, to look at the music, we can be able to reach out to everybody around the country's corners or even in the globe in what we do. This is a smart way of looking at what we do. Innovative approach in culture preservation. We said part of our role is to educate. And we educate children who are in primary, who are in secondary, or who are in colleges. But not all of them in the country are able to come to Bomas of Kenya. Some pupils or some students from Kwale or from Lamu or from Northeastern may not really have an opportunity to be here. We want to have a situation where we create innovation of a virtual tour of Bomas of Kenya. You are to visit internet, you are able to interact with Bomas, you can be able to see what you would have seen if you came here, of course at a fee. That way we will have reached the whole country in terms of carrying out our mandate. Of course, it is our hope and we plan to automate revenue collection, so that whatever we get from our tourists, whatever we get from our conferences is automated, and that will be able to give us prudence in how we manage our resources and our revenue collection for purposes of avoiding and preventing pilferage. Yeah, we have 175 staff and we have a few of them who are casuals, but again, we need to create a base for motivation. We need, and we believe that by having a happy lot of employees, a happy lot of managers, a happy lot of heads of departments and other staff is going to be very useful in ensuring that our image, our productivity as an institution is guaranteed. So that is what we look at in the future. A happy Bomas. You come into Bomas, you're seeing a happy lot who are happy, who are appreciating, who are telling you, giving you the information you need. That's what the Bomas we want to be in, like, as we move on. All ethnic groups to be represented. Remember what we were talking about in the villages when we took you around. We want a situation where you have a Kisi working here, staying in that village, to make the village give information about their community. So by so doing, we will be embracing and bringing cohesion as we promote that as an agenda of government. Enhance the stakeholders' engagements. I mentioned that as a challenge, that we have not reached out to all our stakeholders. As Bomas, we want to see a situation where in the future we are engaging with all the stakeholders so that whatever we do has blessings across the board and we have support across the board. My center of choice. KICC is there, they are our sister parastatals. I mean, they are our sister parastatal, they do what we are doing in terms of mice, but we want to be the choice. Why? We have advantage. We are near the airport, we are near the park, we are not in town, we are not, stretched, we have space. We want a situation where in future, when Kenya goes out there to market, when tourism goes out of the country to market, the destination is Bomas. So when we have the choice, that is our future outlook. Thank you very much, Madam PS, and I want to welcome you again and thank you very much. Those are pictorials of what we are saying. Tunasema shukran na karibu sana for giving us the opportunity.
guys, it's the easiest name. I will always remember. You took your time as a board to be here, to interact with us, and that in itself is a demonstration of your commitment. So I want to, in a special way, thank you. Also thank you, Peter, and your team for holding the fort that was conceived and midwife before we were born, but we are still holding it and making sure that it still remains on the map. Bomas of Kenya, as you already know because we are all converted, has one mandate: to preserve our culture, to tell our story as Kenya and our culture as Kenyans. And it is something that only Bomas has that mandate. Everybody else can do a center, convention center. Everybody else can do whatever, but it's only Bomas that have that mandate. And for you, that is what you should be guarding jealously. And looking at the plans that you have and already what you have achieved, I can see that that centerpiece of cultural preservation is still dear to you, and that is the way to go. I know you have grand plans for the future. You have, which is good because obviously you cannot. Culture doesn't mean that it should be a cake, that you live in the past. You are also thinking about the future and what the future holds. Of course, within the environment that we are in today. What is encouraging me more is the interest that our tourists have in us. And I think that in itself tells you that indeed, as an experience, culture as an experience, it should be one of our largest attractions for tourists. And as they experience it here in Bomas, when they go to Narok and they go to Kajiado, what you tell them here at the Masai Boma should be what they see down there. When we say that we are representing the African culture, the Kenyan African culture, authenticity, as we say, is the thing. Because many times we say culture is dynamic, it evolves, but even as it evolves, they are the basic minimum that we cannot go below. And I believe that from what I've seen, from what I've experienced, that in itself is the mantra for Bomas of Kenya. So Chairman and your team, Peter and management, I believe some of these proposals that we have, we'll always have an opportunity to discuss them in good time and to evaluate what can be done now. But as a government, one of the things that we are very passionate about is, because tourism is private sector led, really. We don't develop products. Products are developed by private sector. Even the cultural exhibition that we have here, they should also have that private sector, inclination. Okay? I'm just imagining Bwana Makut, niende pale kwa Mijikenda village, nikule ugali na mboga ya Mijikenda. That means somebody will have to attend to that garden, is it? Yes. Okay? Sini pesa maingiza. Now we are living in a culture where everybody is saying we need to eat healthy. Can you imagine Bomas could be the center where all our vegetables will be coming from? That village. So somebody, instead of them waiting to come and dance, in the morning they do their vegetable, wakuja wa practice, wafurahishe watu, but at the end of the day, they know that there is a way of them making a livelihood out of this. It's not like they are here passing time, they are on a minimum wage, things like that. But I'm very, very inspired by the troops, the dancing troop. Sometime last year, I think in September, where I was, we hosted the Commonwealth. The 54 countries that were in Kenya, and we asked for bombers to be entertainers, and they did not disappoint. You ask them for a dance, they will do it. Some people, they just change their clothing. Ask them to do a Makonde dance, they actually do a Makonde dance. And you can see the kind of, that in itself is something that show the innovativeness and adaptability of our people. Okay? So everybody kuna umuhimu wake. Everybody ana umuhimu wake. So I am seeing actually even before going to those big grand ideas, me I'm already seeing money from those villages. And I want us to see how we can be able to empower these people more. I am also very encouraged the CSR that you're doing to provide space for people to earn a living through sale of their wares. Not everybody does that. Even KCC doesn't do that. Okay? They do that. So this is good. That means you also care for humanity. You care for the community, and that is the spirit for that only bombers can have. You know, because you have that African tradition where everybody matters and everybody needs to be. Those who need a helping hand should be given a helping hand. So my door is open. Today it gets formalized myself with bombers. The operations of bombers, the people who run bombers and make us proud. I'm happy I've met you, but please feel welcome. Let's discuss this grand idea that you have. Let's conceive the best way of how can we make them come to fruition, because they indeed are the tomorrow for us. And the young people who come here and visit, I am sure they leave here more inspired than feeling that they came to a backward place.
Thank you very much. I want, now you allow me, and I want to request my chairman to flank you as you cut this cake, which has been made by our Utamaduni restaurant. And it is about welcoming you to Bomas of Kenya. Honorable Safina Kwekwe, CBS.
Sorry.